Welcome into the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. On today's show, it is time for another award-winning Ravens Rumors Mailbag, our second of the week. And you may be asking yourselves, how do I get involved in these mailbags? Well, you got to subscribe to the channel. Send in your questions. Go to our community tab, and we pick out some of the best questions over there. And we are your playoff destination. Look, we already know the Ravens are going to be in the playoffs. Still trying to figure out exactly where they belong in the equation, but nonetheless, they'll be in the show. This is the place to be. If you love your Baltimore Ravens, you got to subscribe now. You ain't alive if you ain't subscribed to the Ravens Rundown for daily Baltimore Ravens coverage, news, and rumors. Also, we are getting you set with game previews, game recaps, and more. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Let's go ahead and get started right away out of the mailbag. Gary asks, should the Ravens trade for DeAndre Hopkins next year? It's an interesting idea. DeAndre Hopkins, his name is one that's going to be talked about a lot across the National Football League as we are expecting to see the Cardinals fire Cliff Kingsbury after this weekend. Kyler Murray is probably going to miss most of next year. They already, of course, have Hollywood Brown, who they brought over from the Baltimore, of course, from the Ravens last year. And so with that, could they be moving on from D-Hop? And remember, D-Hop missed, the first 6 games this year for a failed PED drug test. And so this might be their opportunity to capitalize and get some draft capital of sorts for DeAndre Hopkins. Look, I like the idea. You look at this Ravens team, and with all they've been through this year, they have just been cheeks when it comes to this receiving corps. Nobody can catch the damn football. And it has been so painful. Beyond Mark Andrews, it's been bad to watch. And so with that, I know some of you, your next answer are going to say, well, why would DeAndre Hopkins want to play in Greg Roman's offense? Well, I am sitting here and telling you that I sure hope, I pray to our dear Heavenly Father that Greg Roman is not the OC of the Baltimore Ravens next year, and then you don't have to worry about that issue. So, in a perfect world, yeah, you trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Hope it doesn't cost you too much because he is an older receiver now, and that there is a new offensive system in place that encourages throwing the football down the field. I think Lamar can, but he doesn't have an OC in a system that gives him the accessibility to do so. So, yeah, I'd be in all favor for it. What say you in the comments section? Let me know. Trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Why for yes and for no? You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Get your votes in. Why for yes, in for no, if the Ravens should trade for D-Hop. Kim wants to know, any chance of signing OBJ still? No. I'll put it that way. The Ravens weren't really in the running for OBJ to begin with. We told you on this program many times that the Bills, the Cowboys, and the Giants were kind of the favorites, and the Ravens, although there was a need at the wide receiver position, they didn't really have the money that OBJ was wanting. And then as the medical stuff came out on OBJ, it just didn't look like he was ready to go to be a significant asset for a team this season at this point, that he was basically where his injury situation was. He was saying it was one thing and it was another, and the two didn't add up. So no chance, I think, and just watch. We can check the tape later and when I'm wrong on this, but no chance at the moment of them still signing OBJ. Possibly an option when it comes to this offseason, but at least for now and for a playoff run, it's not happening. OBJ's not coming to Baltimore. I don't think he's playing for anybody this season for that matter. I think that ship has sailed at this point in time. Jeremy writes in, will Lamar play in the playoffs? Has Lamar played his last game with the Ravens? Well, it's been over a month now since Lamar has practiced with the Baltimore Ravens. It has been a long time. And, you know, if you go back to how this whole thing was going down, after, 2 weeks, we heard initial reports from Adam Schefter that the Ravens were optimistic that Lamar would make a return, and that just simply hasn't happened at this point in time. And I'll say this. I know there's going to be some haters out there, the haters and the losers, that will point to Lamar Jackson, that they will say, well, how much has he really invested? He didn't get the contract he's wanted yet. Does he really want to be there or not? Look, all offseason long, Lamar was a good soldier through and through. He was still at every meeting and every training camp and workout that he needed to be at, and that he didn't let the contract stuff be a distraction. So I don't think Lamar is holding out on this injury that he doesn't want to play of some sorts. I think if Lamar's not out there, it's because of the injury itself, that there's no other issue of sorts going on. And so will he play in the playoffs? You hope so, but I don't think it has anything to do with him being upset with the organization. I'll put it that way. Has he played his last game for the Ravens? I don't think so. I do not think so. I think Lamar is going to be back next year. We were talking to you guys earlier in the week about how there was an insider for Bleacher Report that was predicting that the Ravens are going to be able to get long-term deals for both Lamar and Roquan Smith-Dunn. Sounds like a lot to take on, but it's still possible. What's the Kevin Garnett meme? Anything is possible? I think so. I hope that Lamar's back next year. True or false question in the comments section. Lamar has not played his last game for the Ravens. I say true. All right, Billy wants to know, can the Ravens win the Super Bowl? Super Bowl. Well, that's interesting. Let's before even the NFC, just focus on the AFC itself. The Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals are your teams to beat. And it's really like pick your poison between those three. I think all three of those teams are capable of winning the whole damn thing. I mean, those teams are really good for different reasons. And so can the Ravens forget the Super Bowl for a second? Can they just get out of the AFC? I don't think, realistically, they can go through all three of those teams. They're going to need some help. Lamar's going to have to be back. So I would say the answer is no. I don't think they can win the Super Bowl, let alone I don't even think they can win the AFC. Now, just for all intents and purposes, let's look at the NFC side for a second. I like the Eagles more than I do the Ravens right now. I like the 49ers more. I'd like the Cowboys more. The Vikings, and I'm not trying to piss off producer Shapes, but I think the Vikings are a fraud, but I still like that purple team better than I do Baltimore at the moment. So can they win the Super Bowl? Crazier things have happened before, but at the moment, that's a no. Could that answer change down the road? Maybe, but right now, it's a no. Karen writes, what's holding the Ravens back from not winning the games they're supposed to win? That's been the theme this year, right? I mean, the losses that they've had, they weren't blown out. All of them were close. Even the game where they only put up 3 points against Cleveland, that was still a relatively close game of some sorts. For me, it's early on in the year, it was the defense. The defense crumbling in the fourth quarter. Now it's the offense not doing its part. In particular, the receiving core is just not moving the football the way that they need to, and it's really showing their lack of investment at the wide receiver position. So for me, that's the thing that's holding this Ravens team back from really doing anything as far as that goes. And to me, it would shock me if they find a way to work through this. The other part, obviously, is the injuries. And no one has had more bad luck in the NFL the past two seasons than the Baltimore Ravens had. And it's unfortunate. It's the nature of the beast sometimes. But, those two things, I'm not trying to already look forward to next year, but you hope when you go to next year that you can make the necessary changes you need in the receiving core and that guys can just get healthy for crying out loud. It's been bad luck the last 2 years when it comes to that injury front. So that's what's kind of holding this team back. Prediction time. How far will the Ravens go in the playoffs? Well, we already know they're in. Will they get past the wild card round? Will they get to the divisional round, conference championship, Super Bowl? What will it be? We don't know the matchups yet. Still waiting for that. But how far can this team go? Let me know in the comments section how far you think Baltimore will go. As always, you can interact with me, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. I'll be talking about your Ravens there. Big week, Week 18 in the National Football League. I'll do my best to cover it all, and we will see you later on this weekend with a complete playoff preview for the Ravens of what's ahead on the other side. Thanks for joining us here on the Ravens Rundown. Have a great day.